Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. Episode number 14. Can you believe it? 14 episodes already of thoughts and hunches, making money in bunches and sucker punches. Your boy Stony is red hot. Period. Plain and simple. Anybody else that claims that they're documented, nobody's documented. I'm documented. You can go back, you can watch all my videos, and you will see the winners that I continuously deliver to you every single week. Last week was our best week yet. We just got hot early and just stayed hot and just never took our foot off the throttle. And believe it or not, it was actually the NFL, which has kind of been the thorn in our paw this season, that really gave us a jolt. Um, all of my favorite hustlers, lowlifes, scumbags, fienders, degenerates, you're all back. I welcome you all back with open arms 1 week before Christmas, this great holiday season, whether you're celebrating Hanukkah, which is going on right now, or Christmas, or whatever else you're celebrating, just get after it. All right? Don't listen to the Honorable Governor Gavin Newsom. Get out and do something. Anyway, we're going to start off. We have a lot of picks this week. We're going to break the bank this week. Usually we give you anywhere between 20 and 30 picks, but because of the COVID and the scheduling and everything this week, there's games literally every single day. There's a couple going on right now. We've got Oregon +3 against USC in the Pac-12 championship right now, and Oregon just got a pick and took it down and scored at 7-0 in the first quarter. But anyway, we're going with 48 picks this week, believe it or not. So there's a lot. And we're going to start off with college basketball. Now, college basketball, we've been telling you over and over and over, is my specialty. Period, plain and simple. That's how we roll. College basketball, last week, we delivered a 10-2 number to you. 10 wins, only 2 losses, just rolled right along. Was never in doubt either. We jumped out to like a 4-0 start, missed one, then hit like 6 in a row, and it was just ridiculous. 10-2, we'll take it. That gives us 18-5 on the season right now in basketball. Yes, it's early. We got a long way to go in that. But 18-5 is 78.26%. Yeah, I dare anybody to try and top that. You can't. You know why? Because nobody can. Anyway, NCAA basketball, we got a lot of plays coming up, and they're all going on Saturday. So here we go, right out of bed. Butler and Indiana. Classic matchup. They used to play at Butler Fieldhouse. Now they're playing over at, I don't even know, well, it used to be Conseco Fieldhouse. I don't know what it's called now, but it's where the Pacers play in Indiana. It's the battle for Indiana. Basically, just don't tell Notre Dame. It's the battle for Indiana, Butler and Indiana. It's always a very good matchup. Indiana's big, strong, powerful, top 10 team. The Big Ten is the best conference in the NCAAs this year, and they're going to send a lot of teams to the tournament, and a lot of them can go deep. But anyway, we're going to take Butler +7.5 against Indiana in a rivalry game where a lot of bragging rights and a lot of players know each other. Butler is the play here. 7.5, too big of a number. Next up, biggest game of the weekend, biggest game of the year so far. Number 1 versus number 3. Gonzaga versus Iowa. Iowa, Luka Garza. Luka Garza is not only the best player in the nation right now, he's the best player in the nation by far. He's just dominating inside. A big 7-footer who can shoot, who can run, who's agile. He uses both hands. He can dribble. He's powerful. He's an old school throwback. He plays with his back to the basket. And Gonzaga's going to have their hands full with him. But Gonzaga, the good thing about them is they go 11 deep. They go very deep. We're going to take the Zags. We're going to lay 2.5. That game's being played in South Dakota, so there's not really a... it's close to both schools, so it's closer to Iowa, but there's not really a home court advantage. Gonzaga right now, they're rolling. Yeah, they haven't played in a while because of the COVID suspensions and reschedulings and whatnot, but they're the best team in the country, and until they lose, we're just going to keep riding them. So take the Zags, lay the 2.5. Next up, another Big Ten team, Wisconsin against Louisville. We're going to take the Badgers here. They're big and strong. Their only loss was a tough one that they lost to Marquette at the buzzer, but Wisconsin is every bit of a Bo Ryan basketball team that they've been for years. -5.5 against Louisville. Louisville's good. They're 4-0, but Big Ten ACC, sorry ACC, you guys are second fiddle this year. Big Ten is legit. So after going against the first two Big Ten teams in Indiana and Iowa, we're going to take Wisconsin here, lay the 5.5 against Louisville. Next up, Louisville. Sorry. Down here, you cannot make that mistake when you're in the South. Nobody knows what the hell you're talking about when you say Louisville. It's Louisville. That's how it's pronounced, and that's just how it's got to be. Next up, Ball State +3.5 against Indiana State. Another Battle of Indiana. The kind of, I don't want to say lesser-known schools, but yeah, they are the lesser-known schools because the big three always get the press in Indiana. But this is a good matchup. Indiana State right now is dealing with COVID problems. Ball State is quick, and they're pretty deep. So we're going to take Ball State. We're going to take the 3.5. And if you feel adventurous and want to do a money line, go ahead. Next up, North Carolina versus Kentucky. Blue Bloods, classic matchup. Two of the best college programs in the history of college basketball. Just don't tell that to UCLA. Kentucky's done right now. Period. They're not winning. Until Kentucky can win, we're going to keep betting against them. Coach Cal has a serious problem on his hands. Now, he'll right the ship, he'll get it together, and come tournament time, they're going to be a dangerous out. But right now, this ain't tournament time. We ain't even at Christmas yet. So we're going to take the Tar Heels. North Carolina, we're going to lay the 3.5. This game's being played in Cleveland. Moved over from Indianapolis where it was supposed to, or excuse me, from Chicago where it was supposed to be played, but they moved it over to Cleveland. So in game one of a really cool doubleheader, we're going to take North Carolina, lay the 3.5 against Kentucky. Next up, Alabama, Western Kentucky. We're going to take Western Kentucky plus the 5.5. Well, I give the Hilltoppers a lot of credit. They're only about an hour and a half away from where I am right now in Nashville. And I give them mad props for scheduling games, not just like Alabama, but they've scheduled a really, really tough preseason, out-of-conference, non-conference schedule. And it's making them better, and they're getting that way. They might pull off the upset. Bama's good, but Bama's not that good. Western Kentucky plus 5.5 might even win. Next up, Ole Miss versus Dayton, another SEC school, Ole Miss. We're going to take the Dayton Flyers plus 1.5. They're big. Dayton is very big. Ole Miss likes to get out and run and shoot the three, and if that three's not going, they're going to have a long day because Dayton is going to get the ball inside, and they have a good inside-outside game right now. We're going to take the Flyers plus 1.5. Next up, the other two schools, I said the big three schools in the state of Indiana. Whoa, excuse me, there's 4 big schools in Indiana. Butler and Indiana were the first two, and the next two, Purdue versus Notre Dame. That's right. It's part of the Indianapolis, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's like all the schools in Indiana play each other tomorrow. So we're going to take Purdue. We're going to lay the 5.5 against Notre Dame. Again, Big Ten versus ACC. No, sorry, ACC. Notre Dame is not a very good team this year. Purdue, as usual, is fundamentally just got it all together, and they're big and strong, and they're going to pound away at Notre Dame. Lay the 5.5. Boilermakers. Next up, Kansas State versus Baylor. Baylor, number 2 team in the country, cruising, blasting teams, scoring into triple digits, winning games by 20, 30 points. It's not going to happen Saturday, excuse me. They're playing a good Kansas State team, and they're laying 16.5. That's a huge number. Sorry. We like Baylor. We like Baylor a lot, and Baylor could be a team to watch out for in March. Well, they are a team to watch out for in March, but they could be a team that actually cuts down the nets, but not tomorrow. Tomorrow they win, and they win pretty comfortably, but 16.5, no. We'll take K-State. Go Wildcats. Next up is the second game of that Cleveland doubleheader, where Carolina and Kentucky were the first game. Game 2, UCLA against Ohio State. UCLA's playing good ball. They lost their season opener to San Diego State, who actually just got throttled by BYU, which was a surprise. It was a game that I just didn't get a feel on, so I backed off of it and didn't play it, and I watched it, and BYU took it to San Diego State. Anyway, San Diego State beat UCLA back in their opener, and since then UCLA's been on a roll. They're getting it together. Tiger Campbell's running the point. Chris Smith is delivering, and this is a very, very dangerous team. Mick Cronin, in his third year now at UCLA, has really turned the tides, and you can see this UCLA team growing. And they're always in the top 10 in recruiting, so he's starting to get the recruits back, and UCLA wins -1.5 against Ohio State. Next up, Santa Barbara versus Pepperdine. We like the Gauchos right now. Pepperdine is just completely depleted. They're down to I think 8 or 9 scholarship players. They're going to be in trouble. Santa Barbara's not that good, and hence the 4.5-point spread, but they are on the road. That's probably why. We're going to take the Gauchos plus 4.5. Go Santa Barbara. Next up, Pac-12. Stanford versus Arizona. We're going to take Arizona plus 2.5. Stanford hasn't shown us enough yet in the early going. They will. They'll get it together. They're a middle-of-the-road team now, and Arizona is trying to avoid becoming a middle-of-the-road team. They want to still stay at the top of the Pac-12 and be a Pac-12 power with the likes of Oregon, Washington, and UCLA, who are now the best teams in the Pac-12. But we're going to take Zona plus 2.5 at Stanford on the farm. Next up, Cincinnati versus Georgia. Right now, the Bearcats are high flying and running, and they're playing some really, really inspired basketball. Georgia is just flat ever since Edwards left. He's gone. He was their number one guy, and I'm not sure where he is in the NBA now, but once those guys go to the NBA, I kind of lose track of them. But Cincinnati -1.5 at Georgia in Athens. Take Cincinnati. Next up, Cal Poly versus Loyola. Late night West Coast tilt. We're going to take Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and the points against Loyola. Loyola's good school, right? And they're playing very hot right now. They're playing really well right now. But 15.5 is a very big number to be laying to an SLO team that always seems to stick around. They're not very good, but they know how to cover numbers. And this game's just got backdoor written all over it. So take the Mustangs of SLO plus 15.5. Finally, last game on the college basketball docket for the weekend is St. Joseph's versus Villanova. We're going to take St. Joe's plus a 21.5. This is one of those Philadelphia Big Five matchups where you got all the schools that play in the city of Philadelphia. And the old adage is, take the dog. Doesn't matter who's playing, whether it's Drexel or Villanova or LaSalle or St. Joe's, any of them, doesn't matter. Take the dog. And we're going to do it here. Villanova's deep. Hey, Villanova's top 10 school. Villanova's the best team in the Big East, and they're going to make a lot of noise come March. They could win it all. They're very capable of winning it all. But 21.5 to a crosstown rival, I don't think so. We're going to take St. Joe's. So there's your 15 picks of NCAA hoops. We're already 13 minutes in, and we've already given you 15 plays. So now it's time to move on to our bread and butter so far this season, which has really made us a lot of money. Didn't necessarily last week. We kind of nutted out a 7-6 week, and it was the Degenerate Special that actually turned out our first winning week of our first winner in 7 straight weeks of the Degenerate Special that gave us the winning week. And we finished the week at 7-6. Not horrible, certainly not good, but not horrible. 7-6 still has a 64-38-1 on the season. Just stop and let that soak in. 64-38-1 in college football. That's 62.74%. Again, documented. Everything's right here, right in front of you. You can go back and look at all my picks. Anybody else says they're documented, you can't look at their picks because you don't know what they took and who they took, right? You got people that just send you pictures of winning tickets, but they don't send you pictures of losing tickets. I give you it all. It's all right here. So 62.74% at NCAA football. We're going to take that for a spin. A lot of games. One game a day, every day up until Christmas. So we're going to give you at least a game a day all the way up until Christmas right now. And let's start early in the morning. Big Ten championship, Ohio State versus Northwestern. Northwestern's had a good year. You got to give them props. They've had a very, very good year. They've surprised some teams along the way, but they're in some serious trouble tomorrow. Ohio State knows that they haven't played that many games, and in order to get into the college football playoffs, which they will once they win this game, they're going to have to make a statement, and a 7-point win ain't going to do it. Since Ryan Day took over after Urban Meyer left at Ohio State, when Ohio State is favored by 14 points or more, they're 12-6. 67%. We're going to do it again tomorrow. We're going to lay the 18.5. Ohio State wins by 3 touchdowns or more. It makes it look simple. Buckeyes roll. Next up, Big 12 championship. Oklahoma versus Iowa State. This is a good matchup. Iowa State beat Oklahoma way back at the beginning of the season, but Oklahoma has absolutely, since their brutal 0-2 start, has steamrolled teams, and they are playing some really, really good ball. And everybody's looking at this game right now. All the so-called experts, the touts that are telling you to call their 1-800 number and give them $10 and they'll give you the winner of this game for $10. No, you're getting it for free right here. All those guys are taking Oklahoma. Everybody's taking Oklahoma because Iowa State is not a real champion. They got 2 losses. Even if they win, they're not a true champion. Yeah, they are. Sure they are. Matt Campbell has done an amazing job up there, and they're going to give Oklahoma all they can handle. Now, can they win? Sure they can win. I don't know if they will, but in the meantime, we'll take the 5.5. So we're going to roll with Iowa State plus the 5.5 against Oklahoma. That looks like the smart pick, as does my Oregon pick. Touchdown Ducks, 14-0 over SC. Yes, Oregon Ducks. The fill-ins for Washington who couldn't play because of COVID, and the Ducks might go into USC and walk away with a Pac-12 championship. Anyway, getting back to it, we're going to take Iowa State plus 5.5 against Oklahoma. Also in that game, we're going to take over 58.5. So that's our third play. Listen to this one. Here's a great trend, and I love this trend. Ever since 2004, Iowa State and Oklahoma play every year because they're in the same conference. They play every year. In 2012, the game went under. All other 14 games went over. All of them. Every single one. Except for one, 2012. That was 8 years ago. Why buck tradition? This game goes over the number. Both teams score. Oklahoma probably wins by a late field goal, maybe even an overtime game. I'm really looking forward to this one. This one's going to be a good game. We like Iowa State plus 5.5 and over 58.5. Next up, Texas A&M and Tennessee. Tennessee's season is done. A&M knows that, they're holding out some sort of false hope that they have a chance to slide in the back door, if a 2-loss Clemson team, or if Iowa State knocks off Iowa State. If Ohio State loses to Northwestern, and if Clemson loses, maybe Texas A&M can backdoor their way into the college football playoff because they only have one loss, and their only loss was a blowout loss to Alabama, but everybody's getting blown out by Alabama these days. So they're on they're up in Knoxville playing Tennessee, and they're going to go right through Tennessee. Tennessee just wants their season to be over with and start anew next season. So A&M minus 13.5, lay the lumber. Next up, Utah minus 10.5 against Washington State. Washington State just doesn't do it. They're waiting for the season to end. They're in really bad shape right now. Utah is one of those teams, a classic Kyle Whittingham team that just gets better and better and better the more games they play. So lay the 10.5 at home in Salt Lake City against Washington State. Next up, Air Force versus Army. The services playing for the Serviceman's Trophy, and I mean, this is the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy is what it's called. And Air Force is minus 2.5 against Army. We like the Academy. We're going to take Air Force. They're fresh. They haven't played a game in 2 weeks. Army's coming off of a very, very tough, gritty, hard-fought win against Navy, which is obviously their all-time rival, which they won 15-0, and they won easily, which we had winner. And tomorrow they just can't get it done. Air Force is a little bit better, a little quicker, a lot of triple option, more triple option, low-scoring games. Air Force minus 2.5 against Army. Also, we're going to take under 38.5. We'll take under 30 in this game. That's how confident we are in this one. Here's the thing. Here's the best trend. I gave you that trend about Iowa State and Oklahoma. How about this one? Since 2005, 15 years, any game that features 2 service academies, whether it be Navy Air Force, Army Navy, Army Air Force, whatever, any game that features 2 service academies, the under is 37, 9, and 1. Yeah, we like the under. Next up, Missouri versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State, Mike Leach, he's not happy with the way his first season has turned out down in Starkville. They're going to get better once his recruits start coming in and he starts building a program down there. But right now, really the only players there are his freshmen, or his only players there are the freshmen that he brought in. So he's not playing with a full deck right now, and Mississippi State's having trouble scoring right now. Missouri is not the greatest team in the world at all, but we're going to take them. We're going to take Missouri in a pick'em against Mississippi State. Next up, staying in Mississippi, we're going to take Ole Miss minus 1.5 at LSU. LSU is just not good, period, plain and simple. Yeah, I know. I have this one degenerate, Willis McGahee, we'll call him. He's one of those Tiger guys, go Tigers, and he spells go, Geaux. And last week was the greatest. They upset Florida in the biggest upset of the college football season. Just thank the balloon head from Florida who threw his freaking shoe. That's the only reason you guys won. So, now LSU's having a miserable season. Coach O can't wait for this season to end. It can't come quick enough. Lane Kiffin is going to go into Tiger Stadium and light them up. Lay the 1.5. Ole Miss minus 1.5 against LSU. Next up, the biggie. Clemson versus Notre Dame. This is it. This is the ACC. Now, a Clemson win probably, most likely, guarantees both teams still make the college football playoff. So that's probably what everybody's looking at, including Las Vegas, who has Clemson as a 10.5 point favorite. And most people look back and say, well, Clemson's only loss was to Notre Dame, but Trevor Lawrence was out. Doesn't matter. DJ Ucla, however it's pronounced, I'm not exactly sure. He threw for 460 yards in that game, and Notre Dame hung 47 on Clemson. That had nothing to do with Trevor Lawrence. Nothing. So we're going to take the Irish. We're going to take the 10.5. I know it's a big number, or I know it's risky because ever since Trevor Lawrence has cleared his COVID protocol, he's been back and he's been on fire, and they're playing really well. But right now, what are you going to do? In a situation like this, the Irish plus 10.5 is the smarter pick. ATN had a great season and had a phenomenal career. but he's worn out right now. He's not running at all. He's not running the ball. And Notre Dame's defense is going to be the story of this one, to get Notre Dame to that cover, possibly even through the back door, but it doesn't matter how we get there as long as we get there. Irish plus 10.5. Next up, San Jose State versus Boise. Boise's dominated the conference for years. San Jose State is now ranked. Boise's not. The undefeated Spartans are going to cover. We're going to take San Jose State plus 6.5 against Boise. Any other year in the last 15 years, we'd take Boise State at the start of the season, minus 6.5 against San Jose State. Doesn't matter what their records are. Not tomorrow. We like the Spartans. They're playing well. They run the football. We're going to take San Jose State plus 6.5. UCLA Stanford, another good Pac-12 matchup. Stanford has pretty much owned the rivalry over the years, but not this year. Stanford's still struggling. David Shaw's trying to get his team back to where they want to get, and UCLA's playing really well. They're covering numbers. They really were kind of crushed last week by USC on that last drive, and it was coaching and bad play calling down the stretch and very, very poor time management that cost them that. But they led the entire game. The only time USC led was in the final score, but they won the game and they got the cover, which kind of cost us. But anyway, we got it. UCLA tomorrow, 6.5 against Stanford. Next up, Bama, Florida, SEC Championship. This is, Florida lost the game to a really, really bad LSU team. Yeah, Willis McGahee, they're a bad football team. But they only dropped 1 point in the standings, or one slot in the standings. I just don't get it. Florida's good. Kyle Trask is great. Michael Pitts is great. This is a really, really, really good team. But defensively, they're in some serious trouble. If they could let a bad freshman quarterback making his first ever start for LSU to beat them, what do you think Mac Jones is going to do? Yeah, Alabama's coming to town, and they are taking no prisoners this year. We're going to take Alabama. We're going to take Alabama every single game from now on through the national championship, because they will play for the national championship. And I don't know who they're playing or what the number is going to be, but we're taking Alabama. Lay the 17.5 against Florida. Also, I'm going to show how big our balls are. We're going to take over 74.5. Big number to lay. Very big number to lay. Smart money says take the under. But no, when the final score is going to be 58-27, that's Alabama and the over. Because Alabama's hanging 50 on everybody. They don't care who you are. They just roll. Najee Harris. The weapons in Nick Saban's arsenal this year are just stupid. And nobody can slow them down. Florida and the over, both plays in that game. You want to parlay them? By all means, have fun. Next up, Tulsa, Cincinnati. Cincinnati, they're on the outside looking in. They want to get to the college football playoff. A lot of people think they deserve it more than Ohio State. Hey, a 3 or 4 touchdown win over a pretty good Tulsa team tomorrow might do it. Probably won't, but it might. You never know. The voters are fickle like that. But we're going to take Tulsa plus 14.5 against Cincinnati. This Cincinnati team is loaded, period, right? It's a good team that has earned its way into a spot to at least play for the college football playoff. Whether it's 4 teams, 6 teams, 8 teams, whatever your preference is, right? I don't like the college football playoff. I just wish they went back to bowl games, just letting people choose the national championship, because what that does is that creates debate. And that's the best part of college football, because even with the college football playoffs, there's still debate. There's debate about which team's going to get. 4 is not enough. They got to move it to 8. Okay, well, then when you move it to 8, what about teams 9 and 10? They're going to be snubbed, and there's not enough, and you need more teams in. You got to give the smaller schools a chance. Cincinnati will win tomorrow, but not by more than 14.5. We're going to take Tulsa. Next up, the Degenerate Special, the Saturday night Degenerate Special. We're going to take Arizona State minus 7.5 at Ohio State. At Oregon State. We wrote OSU down. Oregon State's done. They're toast. They're getting ready for next season. Arizona State just keeps winning and winning very quietly. We play to win the game. Herman Edwards, he's the man. Herm Edwards has done a great job down at Arizona State. They're not a great team, but that's a good football team, and he's actually building a program down there. So we're going to take ASU minus 7.5 at did it again at Oregon State in the degenerate special for the Saturday night selection. Then we've got college football on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're going to roll through these quick. Monday night, North Texas plus 19.5 against Appalachian State. Appalachian State's going to cruise. They're going to win easily, but they're ripe for the pickings right here for North Texas to slip through the back door. 19.5 is a big number. Tuesday night, we got two games for you. Nevada-Tulane. We're going to take Nevada plus 3.5. The Wolfpack's had a good season. They're playing good football up in Reno, and it could continue. We like them to go out and beat Tulane. So take the 3.5, take Nevada on the money line. There's your winner there. Also on Tuesday night, BYU minus 3.5 against South Florida. Central Florida. Good matchup. Very good matchup. Two teams headed for bowls and smaller conferences, and they're looking to beef up their resume to try to get into a New Year's Six bowl game. It's not going to happen for either one of them, but we like BYU minus 3.5 against UCF. Wednesday night, Memphis minus 10.5 against Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic's had a good season. Memphis is just better. Memphis just scores and scores and scores. They're going to keep doing it. Lay the 10.5. There's your winner there. And finally, Thursday night on Christmas Eve, you can all watch Houston devastate Hawaii. Minus 11.5. The Cougars, another good football team, playing well. I guess you might call that the degenerate special because it's the last college football game. But no, the degenerate special implies it's the last game on the board of a long day. So college football, Saturday night, the degenerate special is Arizona State versus Ohio State versus Oregon State. The third time I did that. And Thursday night, Houston minus 11.5 versus Hawaii. That's 21 NCAA football plays. How you like that? All right, is that enough for you yet? You all done yet? Yeah, I didn't think so. We're off to the NFL. Now, the NFL is kind of, like we said, has been the bane of our existence this year. Haven't had a very good season on it. We're struggling just barely over 500. We were under the magic 52% mark, so we weren't actually making money until last week, when we told you that we were no longer going to bet on the NFL. We're just going to give you our picks. We're going to tell you who we like, but we're not going to actually, we're not going to put money. I'm not going to put money on them, right? And what did I do? I turned out an 8-1 week. 8-1. Clearly my best season of the year in the NFL. Moved us up to 44, 35-1. Not great numbers, but 55% on the season. Still nothing to sneeze at. We'll take it. So here we go. NFL starting Saturday. Two games on Saturday. Denver plus 5.5 versus Buffalo. Reverse turf home underdog. Right out of the gate. First game of the weekend is an RTHD. That, for those of you that don't know what that is, real quick, a reverse turf home underdog is when the home team is an underdog and they play on a different surface than the visiting team that's coming in. That's hit at a 60, I want to say it's 63% rate over the last 40 years, right? This year, in the positive again, it's hovering around 56, 57%. Not a great season for the reverse turf home dogs, but we got a lot of them this week. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them this week. So yeah, and we're going to take all 5 of them. So Denver plus 5.5. Buffalo right now is the pick du jour. Everybody loves them. Everybody's fallen in love with Kyle Allen. And oh, they're playing just great. Buffalo's a good team. Buffalo's a very good team, but so is Denver. Denver's defense is legit. Reverse turf home dog. Take the Broncos plus 5.5. Also, Saturday evening / afternoon game, depending where you are. Green Bay, Carolina. take Green Bay, lay the 7.5. Aaron Rodgers, this is a game to boost his MVP credentials. I can't stand Green Bay. I've never liked Green Bay. I don't like anything about them, and they just roll teams, and this is the perfect spot for them to do it, and they will. Carolina's toast. So take the Pack, lay the 7.5. Sunday, start out with the Tennessee Titans, minus 11.5 against Detroit. The Lions are done. They're toast. They don't have a coach. They're looking forward to next season. There's rumors that Jim Harbaugh might be coming in. There's a lot of rumors that say Matt Stafford's on his way out and that the Lions are looking at a quarterback in the top 10. Tennessee is going to give them King Henry. They're going to bust Derrick Henry right down their throats the entire game, and it's just not going to even be fair. He's about 500 yards away from 2,000. He's got 3 games left. He can get 200 yards tomorrow and really, put one step forward towards it. But yeah, Tennessee wins. Tennessee wins easily, and it's all on Derrick Henry's back tomorrow. Sunday. Next up, Houston Indy over 51.5. We did the same pick 2 weeks ago and actually got what we call the worst beat of the season. Yes, some people will say it was the Baltimore-Cleveland game on Monday night, which we hit, but everybody called the worst beat because of the laterals and all that monkey business in the last play of the game. Doesn't matter. We had Houston Indy over 51 2 weeks ago, and it was at 44 at halftime. And it didn't even touch 50. It landed on 46. There were fumbles, there were turnovers in the red zone, and it was ugly. Well, they're going to make it up tomorrow. Houston and Indy both score a lot, 51.5, not tomorrow, Sunday. Next up, Jacksonville versus Baltimore. We like Jacksonville plus 12.5, very big number. Baltimore's coming off 2 big wins that they needed, but they won both games pretty easily, but they absolutely had to have them. Now, this is their game to coast. This is their game to kind of get healthy. Take a big lead early, then put in the scrubs and let them play, and let Jacksonville come through the back door with Minshew mania, because Gardner Minshew starting again for Jacksonville. So we're going to take the Jags plus 12.5. Next up, Miami minus 1.5 against New England. The coach is a mismatch. The coaching matchup is a mismatch. Belichick is Belichick, but he has problems winning in South Florida. He always does. He just can't win down there. And right now, Miami's playing really good ball. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Take Miami minus 1.5 against New England, where Miami's won 5 of the last 7 meetings with New England in Miami. Next up, Dallas 49ers. We're going to take the Cowboys plus 3, reverse turf home underdog. 49ers play on grass. Dallas plays on turf. 49ers are favored by 3. They're heading to Jerry's world. 2 bad football teams trying to play out the string. Neither team's going anywhere. Dallas look good. Dallas is starting to play a little football. A very, very little football. But their defense is still miserable. USC just scored. It's 14-7. But Dallas is still shitty. But we're going to take them plus 3. Reverse turf home dog. Next up, Seattle, Washington. We're going to take the under 45.5. Washington's defense is absolutely elite. And Seattle's defense, after a miserable start, has really come together ever since they got Adams from the Jets. He's really revitalized that defense and got them playing really well. Neither team's going to score a lot. Dwayne Haskins is starting for the Redskins because Alex Smith is out. So we don't care who wins. Well, Seattle's going to win easily, but Seattle could win this game 31-6. There you go. There's your under. Next up, Atlanta versus Tampa Bay. Everybody likes Tom Brady. Tom terrific. They looked great last week, and Tampa Bay is going to the playoffs, and they're going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to play the Super Bowl in their home stadium. But they're going to have trouble tomorrow in Atlanta. Reverse turf home underdog. The Falcons play on turf. Tampa Bay does not. Tampa Bay's laying 6. Give us the Falcons plus 6. Next game, biggest game of the weekend. Probably the 2 best teams in football, New Orleans and Kansas City. Right? people in Green Bay might argue that. They think they're better than New Orleans right now. But New Orleans and Green Bay are the two best teams in the NFC. And New Orleans is finally getting Drew Brees back. He's playing. Some people say, he should probably sit another week and let Taysom Hill play because he's played fine. Well, they're against Kansas City. And Kansas City, I mean, let's face it, they just keep winning. And they're everybody's favorite to win the Super Bowl because everybody's love affair with Patrick Mahomes. But guess what they haven't done the last 4 weeks? Covered a number. They don't cover. And they play on grass up there at Arrowhead in Kansas City. Well, they're heading down to the Bayou, and they're going to be in the Dome where they're on turf. And we're going to take the Saints +3 as a reverse turf home dog. Sunday night, New York Giants, Cleveland Browns. Reverse turf home dog. Yes, the New York Giants installed field turf. MetLife Stadium installed field turf in New Jersey last season. So they play on turf now. The the Cleveland Browns do not. They play on grass. They're coming in Sunday night. They're playing a very good defense in the Giants. The Giants run the football, and they can control the clock. Both teams run the football. But we like the Giants. We like how they're playing right now. We're going to take the 6.5 as reverse turf home dog number 5 on the week. And finally, the last play of the week is Monday Night Football. Dun, 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 dun. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. I don't even need to tell you who we like. Just go through history. You're going to take Cincinnati +2. You're going to take Cincinnati +22. Doesn't matter. Pittsburgh rolls and Pittsburgh covers. Pittsburgh -13 on Monday night is the last winner I'm going to give you on this. It's not a podcast. We'll call it a telecast. -13, Pittsburgh. So there are 48 picks. That's 12, 21, and 15. Lot of numbers. 12 NFL picks, 21 college football picks, 15 college basketball picks, 48 for the week. These are picks that are going to get you all the way into Thursday night. Now, next week, we're going to broadcast this on Thursday night because there will be some games on Christmas Day. So we will get the picks into you on Thursday night so you can be better prepared for the weekend that's coming up for you. So finally, the last thing we wanted, out of the 48 picks, we're shooting for 26 wins. We're not asking for a lot. 26 and 22, that's not asking for too much, is it? We'll take it. The closer we get to 30, though, the more damage we can do. So, 30 would be nice, but 26 wins. So that's all we're shooting for. Now, finally, the last stop on this record, 41 minutes and counting so far, is the shout-outs. Let me start with, let's call him the Cruiser from West Sacramento. This is a clown. I've told you this story before. He drives up to Reno an hour and a half, 2 hours away, every Wednesday for lunch. And he goes up there and he places all kinds of bets for the whole week. Those are his bets for the week. And he's betting Bellator and UFC. But all of his bets are $5 bets. $5, $2 bets. $3 bets, this and that. Comes back with a stack of tickets like this, right? Every time he gets a winner, he sends it to me, takes a picture of it and sends it to me. Oh, he hit Northern Colorado versus Central Arkansas under in the first half for $3. Nobody cares, right? How many losers do you have? You didn't send me those losers, right? Well, here's the thing. The last 2 weeks, he's gone up to Reno and he's texted me and said, I'm in Reno. I need 4 college basketball winners. Last week, I gave him 4 and I went 3-0-1. I got a tie. So it still paid him. He did parlay them. A $6 parlay. $6. I gave him the business about it because I said, that's how much confidence you have in me? $6? It hit as a 3-teamer instead of a 4-teamer. And then he went up again just the other day, and I gave him all 4, and all 4 hit. I'm 7-0-1 in 2 weeks of giving him picks. No props, nothing. Bets $20 on the games. Those are big bets for him. Bets $20 on those games. And but still no love for the man who's just feeding him winners. Hey, Stoney, I need more winners. Here you go. Boom, 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 one after the other. It's what I do. Anyway, shout out to the Cruiser in West Sac. Next to my boy the Book, longtime homeboy from the O. But the thing about the Book dog is if you're ever in Long Beach and you need to go to the AM PM down on the waterfront, tell them Book sent you and they'll take care of you. Book, you the man. Finally, the last shout out of the week, my boy. I don't like to give anybody's full names, so let's just call this guy Panayotis the Pilot. Panayoti, you are the man. You made my day by sending me that text the other day. You've got your in-laws involved. Shout out to the Zachos family. I hope you guys are enjoying it and having as much fun as I am. I love Pano, and I know you guys do because everybody loves Pano. So enjoy him. He's going to take care of your daughter, believe me. Anyway, that's it for me. 48 picks. I'm still not even tired. I could keep going. I'm going to go make some buffalo wings right now and just start getting after it. So enjoy your weeks. This week, the Christmas week. Don't get too crazy with everybody else. Enjoy the time with your families, unless you're in California and you're listening to your governor. But everybody else is going to be out getting after it, having fun, spending time with their family, whether they're Zooming it or not. That's what I'm going to have to do because my family's back home anyway. So enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful Christmas week. And I will be back with you on Thursday night again, Christmas Eve. I will drop some knowledge on you for the weekend to get you ready for the final weekend of the college football season, going into bowl season, and NFL and college basketball and everything else we can do. In the meantime, have a great time. Remember that if you're going to win big, you got to bet big. And finally, good luck to you.